Alrighty. Hello everybody. This is Kyushu here, and now, in the last part, a number of events have happened. We had Deku and the Foundation team. Izuku was brought into an anomaly I myself created, 8004, or as it is currently referred to right now, the Forest. As far as the Foundation are aware, this place is crazy. It is some sort of spatial anomaly, and there are creatures inside of it that will drain somebody of their life force, or do something. As far as they're aware, it will make a person shrivel up like a raisin, and that person will die because of the process. Deku and his team went in. They encountered many things here already, found a town, and went to investigate it as night fell, still trying to find the missing MTF member. Now, while that was happening, they encountered somebody who still lived here. They were stuck in an amber-like material, sort of like sap. However, whenever Izuku interacted with this thing, she was let go. She landed in the building and freaked the hell out. Izuku, after the two made physical contact, had images flash in her mind, images flash in his mind about what happened here. And this certainly meant a lot. He tried to defend the girl, because, as far as she is aware, this place was a war zone. And after the Foundation team stood down and gave some trust to Izuku, they realized he wasn't being affected by some sort of, mimetic effect, or maybe even an anti-mimetic effect. It was just simple. They don't know whatever the hell that was, but clearly it would have killed a mortal man. So yeah, lucky them. Now, currently the team, they try to do a bit. They began to set up camp, and the girl, her and Izuku kept talking in this strange language. Izuku acting as a translator, however the girl was clearly still a bit freaked out by a few things around her. And currently, we do actually have part of the team, they are sitting all around the campfire eating MREs. Only one of them is missing from this group. And there actually is, with a person, they do get to stand on the roof currently. Them, with night vision active and looking around. A lot more aware that these creatures may not have body heat. However, it is one of the safest things they have, aside from the damn anomaly downstairs. 682-2. Tonight they might actually get some good sleep, because they may not die here. Them turning and looking around, with a lot going through their head, turning and staring at that giant damn tree. It is massive, huge. The girl was stuck inside of something connected to it. So, okay, in the report they might be able to put down that she was a part of the tree. Maybe, but that's not right. This thing about that isn't right. There were other pods like that. So if they go to the other areas, check a few things out. Him turning his head, trying to see where other connections could be coming down. However, that does begin to pose the question. This massive city, they go further and further in. What will they find? What's going to happen? Is it going to be more dangerous? Those creatures, they don't know how many of them were outside the city. But in here, it could be worse. It could be better. They're being hunted down by those giant-ass stone golems. So there is that. Us cutting to Izuku, who does someone sit there. Him turning and talking with the girl. And the girl, she does have a lot going through her mind. Izuku even seeing a bit of the distress she has on her face. And she would try to explain it again to Izuku, about how tomorrow she can help them learn many things. Though, she is still trying to process the information that time has passed. she's still confused on the details. Confused of a lot. Currently, her staring down at her own hands. And then I'm going to turn to Izuku. Looking at the strange device he is wearing. And Deku, he does actually bring his hand up. Currently, him staring at the camera as he would actually turn. Him going to undo this vest and then going to take it off. Currently, I'm going to turn and set it down. We're going to stretch. And then going to actually stretch his back. And then go over to watch on. Her staring at Izuku and making a comment about the device being unnatural. Her looking back towards the fire. And Deku, he does want to ask more questions. However, they do need to get ready for tomorrow. They need to be up the moment the sun rises and they are able to get moving. Though, they also should cut out the fire. They had their food and they had a little bit of warmth. They've got their bags and they've got their gear. This was supposed to be a quick rescue mission. But now, it's going to be a bit more. And the group, they do go to have some shifts trade off. Currently, one other person taking charge while everybody else does begin to sleep. Them waiting somebody else to replace them later. And their actions are Deku, he does get someone wake up. Currently, him goes on turn and stretch. Him getting off of the cold floor as he does throw off the blanket. Currently, him going to actually turn and begin to roll it up. Currently, the ultralight and thin material going to be packed up and put back into a bag. Them going to eat some protein bars and then get moving. Currently, Izuku and the group heading off. Now, the girl, she's already looked around the area a little bit. There are remains, things that talk about what happened here. These people, they are hers. They died. And it has her concerned. Currently, her turning her head and going to somewhat stare at something. And everybody, they do so to see the distress apparent on her face. And it does have her concerned. Her going to stare around the area, her eyes glowing green. And Deku, he has to actually walk up and next to her. Him bring his hand up and onto her shoulder. Her turning around and seeing Izuku for a second. Goes on jump as Deku would pull his hand up. As the woman would go to express to tell her they need to move. Get their friend out of here. And get her out of here. This place is no longer safe. Izuku going to turn back and repeat the words. The woman going to turn to Izuku and talk about how he needs to make sure to also tell her. They will make sure to do what they can to take care of this place. It's gone to hell. The Foundation might have taken extreme measures though. And Deku would turn, repeating most of that, expressing about how the Foundation will handle the creatures here. But the girl does try to talk about them. Currently the group making their way down the road. About how those creatures used to be legend of her people. Those creatures were what you would talk about to scared children. They should not be real. If they are real, then many of their own myths could be real. Many of them that have been passed down could be real. And Izuku, he does try to ask about that. Asking about the creatures, even the golems, even about the, sap material she was in. And the girl does express a little bit of confusion about the last one. Her trying to explain how the amber does work. And Deku, he is listening in. Currently, her making her way back home and seeing the exact same scene. Being able to feel that the land around here isn't good. Being able to feel that this place has already gone bad, and there currently is where the group they do just not stand there. Her running over and Deku staring up at a house. Currently, it was the scorched top of the building, along with it being partially collapsed. There's a lot of damage. Fact is, there were fires. They know that much. There was a lot here. So, it's unlikely that the team member, no, the only survivor, the MTF member, may have gotten to the city and lived. It's a possibility. Though, they need to check a few things. What place that would stand out? Up high, the highest possible location. Either that or he might have just started putting symbols everywhere he went. Every place he was. It's not out of the ordinary. I mean, hell, just mark the area with symbols and move on. Leave a trail. Tell them something. And it does somewhat have the group concerned. Rhino Deku asks the girl if there's any place here that's not, well, normal, or at the very least, stands out. And the girl tried to express about how the market would stand out. A place large, open. People sold goods. People made livelihoods. They farmed. And, well, then there's another place. A holy site. One of great importance to our people. One that talks of, well, their god. And Deku, he would actually go to some turn. Him expressing to everybody these two locations. And the team, they are a bit intrigued. They want to get some documentation about a deity, especially if it does have the potential to be here with this anomaly. See if it might want to do harm or do good. From what they can tell already, this girl has plant-like abilities, control nature, so some sort of goddess of what? That's the question that you need to ask. A deity could be good. If they can make a deal with it, talk with it, see if it's peaceful, that'd be better. If it's not, then they gotta proceed with caution. And there actually is Deku. He does go to be told this by the commander. Her talking about it. They'll head to this market first, see if there's anything that could be useful. On the way, they are going to be on high alert. Currently, they're going to turn and walk up to Izuku, telling him to have the girl point directions out to her. And Izuku, he would try to express these directions. Currently, the girl going to understand. Her walking up next to the team member, who does have the rifle up. And Izuku, he does go to walk somewhat behind these two. Currently, the girl, with a lot going through her head. And there actually is Izuku. Izuku is thinking about a few things. He's very curious about the anomaly. He's actually out and walking in a town. Though, it does have him a bit more intrigued. The Foundation have always talked about this real world. Keeping the veil. He's heard that term thrown around a few times. Especially when they talk about things that don't make sense. He doesn't know what the veil is. But there's a lot he has seen. A lot he still wants to know. He still wants to know who SCP-682-1 is. He wants to know what the veil is. He wants to go outside the Foundation site. I mean, from everything he's seen about the cartoons, there's a lot to see in the world. He wants to go to places. Go swimming. See a lot of things. Maybe ask questions. He has a father and a mother. Those two words. Two people. Who are they? And, well, if he has his understanding correct, what are they? He's an anomaly, and normalcy, quote unquote, as he's heard it, is what everybody else is, and what he isn't. So that is a question that does cross Deku's mind. Currently, it a bit more persistent. And Deku, he does continue walking. Before one of his ears do get a turn. Currently, Izuku stopping as the MTF member behind him directly walks into Izuku as if he was a brick wall. Currently, him with his feet firmly planted on the ground. And whenever the guy doesn't make a sound, the commander will just not turn. Her going to bring up her weapon and stare at Izuku. And Izuku, he does stand there looking around. The commander staring at Izuku as his eyes are that of a hunter. A hunter waiting to hear that little sound, the one little movement that will give away prey. And the man, he has actually not turned. Everybody taking positions and making sure they cannot be flanked. And Izuku, he would hear it. Currently, he's going to step forwards, bring his hands up, and directly shoving the commander in this person directly out of the way. As the creature did some rushing through the house, creating a sound. It smashing directly through and grabbing onto Izuku. It smashing him into the wall and screaming into his face. And Deku would bring his hand up, currently him grabbing into the creature's throat as he does, going to begin to actually dig his claws into it. The creature going to smash his head through the wall and then going to pin him down to the ground. Currently the MTF members trying to fire at and shoot at this creature. And Izuku, he does begin to adapt. Him beginning to grow in size as the creature was going to bring its hands up, it battering down into Izuku and bringing down its teeth. Currently it sinking them directly down into Izuku's shoulder, trying to take its own pound of flesh, rip him to shreds. And there actually is Deku, who doesn't really have a spike shoot up into his shoulder and through his body, it stabbing into the thing and piercing it through the head. And currently it does lay there directly on Izuku. And there actually is the girl. Whoever the MTF members do actually run in, they see this thing lying on Deku. Currently him going to actually pick it up as it is going to take a second. Him shoving it off of him and then climbing to his feet. The spike on his arm beginning to retract back into the area of his shoulder blade. And currently Izuku, he does go to actually stand there. Him covered in the creature's blood. And the girl stares on. Izuku taller, bigger. And he does go to express. Currently him turning to the commander. Loud noises, more on the way. Her expressing for Izuku to do what he does best. Run off and be loud. Actually get their attention. And they'll continue on with their own work. Cause a scene and they will get somewhere up high. Knowing the MTF member, if he sees some shit going down and he sees an explosion, he'll know they're here. Currently her gonna turn, beginning to express a few things to everybody. Currently the girl staring at Izuku as her arm is grabbed, and Deku with a turn scurrying off on all fours. Currently him bringing his hands up onto the stone wall and sliding his claws across. Right now a massive sound being heard, and the creatures, they do begin to hear that. Deku's fingers sending sparks. Now, Deku, he does go running out and into the open, and there actually is into the market, where some of the creatures, they have heard Izuku. And Deku, he currently is at the biggest size he can get to. The size of an adult. The SCP. The four-limbed creature. And Izuku, he does begin to actually have two massive arms shoot out of his sides. Currently him going for a bit more of a bipedal stance, and then going to have his tail break into two. Izuku begin to have his teeth sharpen up, and he does get ready. A part of him is excited. A part of him is going to enjoy this a lot. one side of him that wants to relive battle. It enjoyed it. It was comfortable. All he ever knew. It was the one thing he liked almost as much as naps and food. And currently Izuku, he does go to wait. Currently these creatures begin to funnel into the area. And Izuku, he does have two come at him from different directions. Currently, him going to actually rush forwards as one of them does a bring its hands up. Currently it trying to grab Izuku and suck the life from him. Him sending a tail strike directly out and into the creature. It being shot and stabbed directly into the shoulder by the spike. Izuku bringing up the other one and aiming towards his head. It bringing its hand down and slashing out the spike, and the creature would actually bring its hands down. Currently it trying to grab Deku by the head and try and rip it off. And Izuku, the moment he goes to grab him, he does going to start pouring fire directly into his chest. It stepping back and making an unusual sound. And whenever it does a step back, Deku stares at these two's heads. One of them is a fox. The other is another animal Izuku knows. A raccoon. And this does have him a bit more confused. The creature opening its mouth and revealing its sharp teeth. It rushing forwards, and Deku, he would actually bring his own hand up. Currently him having one of his forearms slash upwards into this thing's head, and the other arm does a slash towards the torso. And Izuku, well, this one does attack him, the one with the fox head does go rushing back in. And the MTF members do begin to watch on. Currently, the things nearby beginning to pour in more and more. And Izuku, he does begin to have a bit of a battle. Currently him in the market adapting to these enemies, adapting to the threats. And there currently is the MTF member. The MTF member, they have been stuck in this city for a few days. They've seen things and they know things. They just don't they don't know what to do. The entity, he's command can't get talk to command, can't figure this out, can't clear his mind, has to hide. This being one of the thoughts going through his head. After what he saw, he's not sure if the Foundation can handle it. Not sure if anybody can. He's gathered an assumption. And hopefully, it's not right. Hopefully the information's wrong. And currently does hear a sound. Him hearing a massive kaboom in the distance. Currently him going to actually turn. Right now a creature rushing right past him as it doesn't even bother to touch him, let alone grab him. And this, it does alarm him. Currently, some of these creatures trying to at least get Izuku to stand down, overpower him. And there actually is Izuku, who after he had some of these creatures rush in and dogpile him, they began to tear into him, ripping him apart as much as possible. And Izuku, his body can take the damage. It's durable, highly durable. But with enough of these creatures, yeah, that starts to slow you down. And Izuku, after these things got to the skin, they began to rip him apart by the muscle. They began to bite into him and try to drain him of what they could. However, that ability clearly isn't working. And Deku, he did just gonna do one thing. Whenever he did gonna turn his head, he had his tail fly into one of these things' heads. Currently it stabbing through the back and directly into their neck. Him going to actually have his tail split into four. It then going to actually have a massive rotation happen. It striking a lot of the things on Izuku's back. And Izuku, he is able to get back onto his feet. Currently him throwing out his forearms as he has a scream out with fire. Currently him growing in size more. And these things, they do just don't stare on. Izuku going to have one of them rush him as he going to Doki turn. Him throwing his fist out and smashing it in the gut before going to actually have his head come over and grab it by the head. it bringing his hands down, grabbing on his shoulders, and ripping its head clean off, directly from the shoulders. And Deku, he could actually turn, him crunching it in his teeth as blood would fly from his maw. The creatures watching on, and some of them, they do begin to understand a lot. Whatever this thing isn't natural. It is dangerous. And some of these creatures, they do begin to make sounds. And Izuku, he is picking up on this. However, he also is beginning to understand a few things. Currently, him looking around the area and seeing this strange glow in the air. He doesn't understand it. The area is glowing orange. However, these things, they're glowing yellow. These things have a trail. And Deku, he wants to follow it. Currently, him going to actually have a separate head begin to form. Right out to both of these heads begin to spew out flames, dookie at everybody. And the creatures, they do begin to retreat whenever Izuku, he makes a wall of fire and continues to lay on with more and more fire. Now, this went on for about 2 hours. And there actually was with a missing MTF member. He hid until these things began to retreat. And there actually was Izuku, who after this battle, he actually did get a run over to one of these creatures. Currently him being to feed on its flesh. Now, Deku, he does need to make sure his body can heal. He is tired. And none of the MTF members, they do come walking into the market. Some of them seeing it on fire. Mostly on fire. And the bodies sitting all around. Along with the strange blood these things have. Their blood is... What the hell? Them walking over, bending down, and bringing it up and... Huh. Right. Currently them going to actually turn, setting the sample into a vial, expressing turning to Izuku, who does sit currently in a pile of bodies, him gnawing on an arm as if it were a chicken bone. Currently, him looking up, having the yellow blood being actually poured down his face. And it does not have them concerned. It isn't right. It's pure dandelion yellow. But it's also... What is this? No. A tone of... There's another color here, but... What is it? It has them concerned. Currently the girl looking around, seeing many of these creatures just dead. And the stories of her people, they don't die easy. But clearly, there's something more to this foundation than this boy has talked about. Currently, her walking over. And the MTF member, they do come running out. Currently them seeing the team as the group do go point their weapons in that direction. Currently Deku going to actually turn and bring his hands up. His nails going to elongate and turn back into claws. As their actions with the member does come running out. Currently them with their uniform, torn and damaged, along with a wound on one of their arms. Them stepping forward to the team and talking about a few things. They need to go now. They need to get out of here now. It's not good. Not safe. Area is compromised. Not safe. Not safe. And there actually is Deku. Whenever he does get up, the MTF agent does a turn, staring at him as he does get out two of the arms on his side, begin to retract back into his body. And Deku, he goes out to stare at the man. Him turning his head a bit confused. Him swallowing the food in his mouth as he is his own stand. Currently, Izuku in his, uniform. However, his pants, they are still on. However, his quote-unquote shirt and harness have mostly been destroyed. Currently, Izuku walking over as he goes on turn, staring at the anomaly as he goes on swallow his food. Him being told that that SCP right now is here to help track him down. Whatever he knows, he'll be debriefed soon. So far, those creatures have been sent into retreat. Now, if they can, they need him to pull himself together and come on. They're here for extraction. That's all. Is he all that's left? As far as I know, yes. There were others, but they're gone. It it took them, and I think I've been exposed to something mimetic. My my thoughts, my brain, something's wrong. This place, it's just it messes with modern technology. It messes with everything. It's these people. I don't think they liked tech. The person understanding. And currently, their actions just don't turn to the other anomaly, staring at the girl. Him looking at her, knowing her face. And something about it is not good. Currently, him bringing his hand up and going to get ready. Currently, the woman turning to the man, and there actually is Izuku, who does stare at him, seeing that he's going to make a move. And there actually is Deku, he does not turn, bring his hand out as the man takes a hold of his foundation pistol that does appear to be rusty. Before Deku, he would aim the gun upwards and would fire. The man bring his head up and yelling about how the girl is not supposed to be alive. Now, this, it does really concern the team. The man had to be heavily restrained and have something to knock him out. Currently, the team beginning the process of getting away from here as fast as possible. And there actually is the girl, who does not want to abandon her home, does not want to leave this place. However, she doesn't understand. If the monster of legend is real, then this place has already fallen. But that does make her curious about what happened to her world, what happened to everything else. If their deity protected them, and this thing is here, then the other towns, the rest of she knew, what she knew, it must have been destroyed. Their city is the last of a great home. And this does make her sad. The other parts of the forest must have been burned, completely annihilated. And the team, they do leave. The man being debriefed as he does make reports of a multiple-headed monster. Something large and massive. Something that just poured images into his head and took his friend. They took his friend. And the man, after he does get amnesticized, he is put on leave. The Foundation, not sure if he might return to active duty. Not really too sure about a lot of things. However, right now, the quote-unquote druid is compliant. She has shown distress at a lot of things. Distress at the Foundation because of this place. But that is only natural. From the reports and interview they conducted with Izuku, she woke up in some sort of, pod, in the best way of saying it, in technical terms. And she woke up after a war. She fell asleep during. There were monsters. There were fires. There were explosions. The mighty howls of a monster. And then silence. Then strangers. Then the Foundation. That's all she knows. as far as they're aware. Any additional information needs to be provided and cataloged because currently she needs to be contained, if not protected, by the world she finds herself in. She doesn't belong in it. And speaking of that, we do currently have Izuku, who, when they got back to the Foundation, he didn't want to make a request. And Dr. Bright, he was a little bit more surprised. Because Izuku, he wanted to go outside, wanted to know more about the world, wanted to know a lot about it. And the Foundation, yeah, they're not too sure how to approach this. Izuku is showing intellect, and now he's showing a bit of maturity. They do want to introduce him to people, not just the members of the task force he does interact with. And if he's going to interact with the world, it's best to let him interact with the site first. Maybe let him think this of the world, be more a part of it. And currently, the Foundation, all 5 members, do want to put it out to a bit of a vote. If they allow Izuku to wander the facility a bit, he can be good as a security protocol. I mean, if there is a containment breach, he can respond to it. Be an active agent. I mean, there is always a 1 in 20 chance a breach will occur. And knowing the Foundation, they have more than 20 sites. So, you guess the odds. Currently, the Foundation having it approved. And they also want to use this effort and opportunity to field test Deku against other anomalies. See if the anomalous effects of him and 682 are consistent, because they do appear to be. Along with that, if they can test the adaptation capabilities of Izuku, find out the origin of them, they may get more information on 682. Actually test this anomaly. Actually look into it. They've tested him against some more extreme things. Other things, however, that's just been his cells, his quote unquote DNA samples. And, well, actually testing him, I mean, the scientists aren't going to waste this opportunity for a perfect guinea pig. Especially if he'd basically do anything for a Klondike bar. I had to slip that joke in there. It was right there. Now, with that being said, I do hope you guys enjoyed. And have an amazing night. I'll catch you guys in the next part. And yeah, you guys are probably going to see me crack a little bit more jokes than I usually do in some series, because this one, I can jump back and forth between silly and serious pretty damn fast without being SCP. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.